Hey everyone, it's Peter from Subpod here at Damon Gameau's house. We just installed a Subpod, and I want to ask Damon a very special question. I saw 2040 and I was really excited and enthusiastic afterwards to do something afterwards. And it was one of those few documentaries where I actually got up off the movie seat and jumped on Watch Your 2040. So I wanted to talk to Damon a little bit about that, about the movement now that's going on with 2040 and how's it all going a couple of months after.
Yeah, it's pretty exhausting, but really great. I think the idea always with the film was that quite often you see a documentary and you feel afterwards that you do want to do something, you feel involved, but then the inertia of our system kind of eats you up, and suddenly you're back on social media and you kind of forget about that feeling. So we just wanted to make sure that we're able to capture that in the moment if people did feel inspired or willing to take action. So we set up a bit of an impact campaign off the back of the film, and people can go there. We've teamed up with about 50 different organisations around the world, and just gives people, they fill out a questionnaire. So we ask them specifically about their own interests and what their passions are and how much time they have available, and then give them things they can do. Because I think around climate, we've often been quite prescriptive. We've just said, eat less meat and ride your bike to work.
Yep.
But that's actually not applicable to everyone. We've all got our different interests. So we just try to really create a broad spectrum of things for people to do. And I think that's probably been the best thing about the film. The film's done very well in terms of screenings and box office and stuff, but the money we've been able to raise, or the volunteers or the donations that have come in from bringing those solutions to life that you see in the film has just been extraordinary. So
what's the solution you're most excited about so far? I'm sure there's so many.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'd say what's wonderful is that through our community, they raised $600,000 to build the first seaweed platform in Tasmania. So we're down with University of Tasmania, and I went down only recently to see all the seaweeds in the water there, which is beautiful. The microgrids, they raised almost $1 million for that, which is quite phenomenal. The regen ag stuff, like I guess how willing people are to sign up for a monthly donation to Carbonate to pay farmers to put the carbon back in the soil. And even the seaweed one, I didn't mention, we're now doing another one in Devon in the UK because the response has been so good over there. So not only are we going to do one here, we're going to just start doing trial sites around the world. So this is only just from people getting involved. And I think it really speaks to, we've just got to change the storytelling. I went to a climate event only recently again, and the whole day was what I call doom porn, and it was just non-stop cataclysmic stories about how bad the planet is. I think a lot of us already get that. Like, there's a huge group of people that just go, right, tell us what to do. How do we get on with it? What are the things we can do? And
Absolutely.
that's what's terrific what you guys are doing with Subpod, and there's so many solutions emerging now where people do have ways to tangibly get involved and make a difference and teach their kids. There's no excuses anymore because there are just so many things to do.
Yeah, and that's something that keeps me up at night. I think, how do I get people excited about composting? It's one thing that, telling people to compost because it's good for the planet, it's good for yourself, but change the carrot on the stick.
Yeah.
Not to one that you have to do out of fear base, but how do you get them excited?
Yeah, well, as you see, the benefits there are enormous. As you mentioned, obviously, we're helping the planet, but just to be able to educate our kids with what happens to food to create that sort of closed loop thinking about, you don't throw away your food scraps and they just go into waste. They're actually utilised, and we can turn them into really healthy, productive soil. And I think that's something that's starting to re-emerge now. All these microorganisms, all the life in the soil that just are integral to our own health. They actually solubilize the minerals and make them bioavailable for our plants. So, we can't have human health without plant health, and we can't have plant health without soil health.
Yep.
And I think we're starting to really make that connection. And when we do this, we're also benefiting the planet. So it's a wonderful thing to do regardless, but there's just a lovely bit of icing on the cake.
So you're a soil nerd like me. What's the most fascinating thing you find about soils? What do you most love about it?
I guess it's the sort of unexplored universe element to it.
Yeah.
There's just such a mystery. We're so obsessed with exploring the galaxy and the depths of our universe, which is understandable, but we just have equal much exploration to do within our soils. And just talking to sort of scientists now and some of the emergent and understanding how the life that happens there and how there's bidirectional flows of nutrients going back and forth and exchanging between fungi and plants. And it's just, it's very hard not to nerd out when you start really starting to understand it. And I, for the first time recently, saw it under a microscope too, and that took my nerddom to another level. I was like, just the critters and the life that's in there.
Perhaps we'll never understand it all.
No, and when you compare that to what our soils are traditionally right now and how much chemical damage they've had, there's just those microorganisms aren't in those soils, and that's what we've got in us. We've got those microorganisms, so the sooner we can make that connection between the healthy soils and our own healthy gut, then I think we're going to really bring people along for the journey. And I think food is a wonderful Trojan horse around climate. It's if you start choosing different foods and eating better and looking after the soil, we're also looking after the planet. So everyone wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Maybe we'll just run through the Subpod, what we got here in front of us.
Yeah.
Take Damon through a bit of a tour. Ask any questions. Feel free.
Yeah.
So, you go first.
Yeah. So I guess the for us, obviously, we've got a veggie patch as well, and so this is really important for us to be able to make our own soil, isn't it? Like to actually turn our food waste that we normally throw away, chuck it in here to actually turn it into soil again.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, in a normal garden bed, your soil will end up dropping, and having it here, just making it in this space, taking out your compost and adding to it, really saving you a trip from going to buy more soil. But on top of that, worms and microbes are traveling in and out and feeding the plants directly. There's that symbiotic relationship you're saying. You're getting it directly in there, all in one space, composting, growing food in the same area.
So it's just as simple, isn't it, that you're just ostensibly lifting up this, or you have to not, or you just put your food scraps on top.
Yeah, that's right. You lift up. We've got all the instructions here, just in case anybody comes in a community garden or school and wants to compost for the first time. You lift up the worm blanket, put in your food waste. So pretend I'm putting in some food waste right now. Give it a little bit of a mix with an aerator. Oh, and here's one I prepared earlier. Where is it? Oh, what's there? Oh, okay. Right. So a little bit of a mix. Always add in some carbon material, which could be dry newspaper or leaves or dry grass. And that just helps balance out the system. After you've done that, it might take about 30 seconds. Pop the worm blanket back on. Worms and microbes do their thing. This is the best tool ever.
So that's just aerating the soil, isn't it?
Yeah, that's making more surface contact with the food waste and the microbes. And some people don't like worms. I've had a lot of people ask, like, no, I don't really like worms. I'm like, that's okay. You can still compost. You don't actually have to touch the worms at all.
I see. Yep.
Just give it a turn when you add in your food waste. And that just helps. It does a few things, actually. It prevents it from smelling because you're putting air in there, and also makes the food a lot easier to break down for the worms and microbes, speeding up the decomposition time. So we'll just close that.
Too easy. And also a garden bench, a seat.
It is a garden bench, a seat as well.
Yep. And so the idea is that those worms, people that might be new to it, are going in to eat the food. They're going to break it down. Create the urea, the liquid as well, then take it out the holes that are cut into the bottom of the Subpod.
Let's look at those holes, just in case anybody didn't see them. All these little tiny holes here, there's hundreds of them. The worms are able to travel in and out, and we've made them small enough that rodents actually can't get through it. So it's completely pest proof, but the worms can still come in and out. And
so they're taking that out, turning it into soil for the veggie bed. Correct. So then you're growing your herbs and other things in probably the most healthy, rich soil you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what we can do is then take that soil and put it into our actual veggie garden as well. So it's sort of making our own compost right here.
That's right. Yeah, you feel free to take that compost, or you can plug up and you can use the worm tea as well. And take that with the microbes around to other parts of your garden. So it's
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
It's superb. I hope that every school across the country, every apartment block has these by 2040. That would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And thank you so much for your inspiring documentary and keeping going there. There's a lot of balls you're juggling and doing well. You're standing still.
I'm leaning, actually. Thank you.
Cool.